What's up, guys? Welcome to another 3-point preview. It's Ben here. I've got Joe by my side, and Karthik, if internet is willing, will be joining us in a moment as well. We are here, and we are previewing the Istanbul Basaksehiir, or as Joe calls them, the Istanbul not
Fenerbahce, Galatasaray, or Besiktas.
Yeah, there we go. Basaksehiir, or however you want to say their name. Anyway, we got to the bottom of how to say the name in the last preview. We don't need to dwell on that now. But it is, of course, another game at Old Trafford, and Karthik is in. What's up, mate? You good?
Is he?
Is he frozen again? Every time Karthik gets in the call, he freezes. So today, I think we're going to have we're going to be able to put a book together on the different faces of Karthik.
Yeah.
I think as this goes on today. So if you can you get a screenshot ready? And every time Karthik comes in, take a screenshot of his face and at us with the meme that you've created. When we're recording this, so it's Sunday evening, I've just put one up now of every time Karthik sees Luke Shaw's name on the team sheet. And I don't know if you can see this, but that's the look. So if you could jump in, that'd be great. Joe, how are you doing, my man? Anyway,
I am doing very, very good. I'm just finished work. I've had a full day to allow the West Brom game sit on me as a human being, so I'm feeling more positive about it. Because to be honest, I couldn't get more negative of a win, so there's only one way to go, and that was up. So I'm feeling good. Looking forward to the Istanbul game more so now, I think. But yeah, life is wonderful. Life is great. United 3 points and are ahead of City. What more do you want?
Life is beautiful, and we're going to win the Champions League, and that is a competition we are playing in on Tuesday, and that's what matters. So the first topic, and hopefully, obviously, it's 3-point preview, so we'll have 3 points. We'll talk about those, and we'll get to predictions afterwards. Get in the comments as well, and of course, as ever, our predicted 11s are in the comments. So hit like on the 11 that you love the sound of more than any of the others, just because we're vain and we like to have a lot of love on the stuff that we post. So let's start with fixture congestion. Can we afford to rotate for this game, Joe?
Well, first of all, did you say your tagline? No, is it tagline? Your
oh yes, welcome to the 3-point preview. What's the point in doing a preview if we aren't looking towards 3 points? There we go, done. Now back to it's a sham, this show today. This preview was meant to be recorded last night, and I forgot that we played on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. So that's why we're doing it now in a slight little hurry. And Karthik's like ringing his internet provider, like, give me some internet. I know I've not topped up the meter in a while, but give me some internet, please.
Just give me 2 minutes. Just give me 2 minutes.
2 minutes on the old dial-up, please. And he's winding it up. I don't know if that's what they used to do in the olden days, but still.
The olden days of 15 years ago, but yeah.
Yeah. Or 3, depending on how decent your internet is. Talk to us about fixture congestion, Joe. It looks like we're going to have a game every 3.16 days between now and the end of January. It's a bit worrying. So do you think this is the game that we can potentially rotate in? Can you see us making changes?
To be honest, I think the West Brom game was the rotation game. That's why I think most of the players that started that game were players who didn't have international duty or who weren't heavily involved in the internationals, because I think Solskjaer was gambling a bit by saying, look, we're going to beat them. That's what I hope he was doing anyway. It's hard to tell that from the first game of the long run of fixtures. But because of the last game in Istanbul, I don't think we can rotate that much. I think Donny will start. I think we'll get to line up and stuff like that. But I think there will be rotation from the West Brom game, but the heavy hitters will have to play. I think Martial will start because he needs to get goals in, and he should get goals against Istanbul, whatever their second names are. They are the weakest team we have in the foreseeable future, outside maybe Sheffield United in 3 or 4 weeks' time. So he needs to start. He needs to bang in goals. So I consider there will be rotation, but there won't be too much.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. You mentioned there about potentially he did rotate a bit for the West Brom game. I was actually shocked that Rashford played. I thought he'd give Rashford a bit more time off. I actually thought that he would potentially throw in a Van der Beek and just have 3 really attacking midfielders, 3 playmakers trying to break through the lines and look for Martial, or even bring Martial out to the left and play Cavani up top to have a real vocal point up front. But he didn't really do that. And in terms of the back 4, I mean, I can't see that back 4 being rotated at all for the foreseeable future, because it is by far, I know people call for Axel Tuanzebe to play, but I still think that Lindelof is still our second best defender, so to speak, centre-back anyway, at the club. So I think that defence is as strong as we could go. I think it's really interesting as well that Lindelof's been carrying an injury, and still, a bit like Rashford,
Yeah.
Ollie played him. I thought he might have rested him because I strongly believe this is an important game coming up. If we can get 3 points out of it, we're more or less, I think, we need to get one win in our last two, both against Leipzig and PSG, and or even 2 draws would be enough to see us through with a win on Tuesday.
Yeah,
so I'm quite interested.
I was kind of somewhat surprised, but it also shows that although he has given Dan James a lot of chances, he doesn't trust them because I think it was like we didn't have Pogba at all. He didn't start Donny. He didn't have Greenwood. I think he thought too many heavy hitters were missing, so he needed Rashford in. He felt even a 70% Rashford would be better than having a fully fit Dan James. That's what I felt anyway. We'll see during the week. Maybe he'll feel that he'll need to drop Rashford. Maybe put Martial out in the wing again like it was a couple of years ago, but I really don't think so. I think he'll still stay as the focal point. I think maybe we might see Cavani starting against Southampton if Martial doesn't show up against Istanbul. For me, we discussed this after the match the other night. If Martial doesn't show up, if we're talking about Cavani being our main striker going forward, at 33 years old, I think Martial is in a lot of trouble, to be honest. This for me was, I know I'm repeating stuff I said last night, and I really shouldn't, but it's really kind of playing heavy on me that if Martial doesn't kick on, we will have to look to bring in someone else as number 9, because this was supposed to be his year, and he just hasn't done it so far. Oh,
he's moving.
How far are we get this time? Is there a screen? Can we hear him?
I mean,
okay.
It's like there's a lag. He's like floating in slow motion. I think no, he's still going. I don't know.
Is he frozen?
Karthik, can you hear us?
Am I alive? Am I alive?
You are alive. Karthik, let's bring this question straight over to you whilst you can actually hear us. Fix your congestion. We're on point 1. Can we afford to rotate for this game?
Probably, yeah, because I mean we've got loads of fixtures coming up, so all the squad will be needed anyway. I'm assuming, if everyone's fit and ready to go, then they should be involved. I don't see why not. The only people you'd expect to not be within the squad is people like Phil Jones and Marcus Rojo. Rojo, of course, should be involved, but no one's ready for that conversation just yet.
Funny, that's exactly what Joe just said. Like everything you just said then was exactly what Joe just said. It's like listening to a parrot. It's quite interesting. I do agree. So me and Joe were just talking then a bit about rotation and a bit about where maybe he might have rotated for the game against West Brom, although it didn't really seem that he did in some ways. But then we were just discussing with his back four, we can't really see where he can rotate because obviously Shaw's out injured, so Tellez has to play. Tellez needs minutes in a Man United shirt. You don't drop Wan-Bissaka for anyone unless he looks like he's dead on his legs, and he's pretty fit, so that doesn't really happen. And then maybe you could bring in Axel for Victor Lindelof if he's carrying a knock, or for Maguire to give him time, but you don't really want to disrupt a centre-back pairing that's actually started to work quite nicely again now that we're sitting a bit deeper in terms of when we're not on the ball. So looking at that midfield, really, so to speak, where we flex our muscles, so to speak, with our squad and rotate, has got to be in those forward positions and in the middle of the park, isn't it, Karthik? So, who are you expecting to see then? Instead, without naming your full team sheet, do you expect to see Matic out for this one? Do you expect to see Fred in there still? Do you expect to see Pogba coming back in, injury permitting? And where does Donny van de Beek maybe fit into all this? And Cavani, as Joe was hitting on a second ago, but you didn't hear that, so that's fine.
I think you probably see Bruno rested, and I think Van de Beek starts in the 10. I think that's the most likely scenario. In terms of the system in the midfield, I think you could see us switch back to Diamond, but I don't know if Ollie fancies it anymore just because of that Arsenal game and how it just went completely wrong. In terms of rotation in the midfield, again, that's one where you think there is plenty of opportunity to rotate in that midfield, but Ollie seems to want to avoid certain combinations of players. So, like, for example, he doesn't really want to play Pogba and Van de Beek in the same team. He doesn't really seem to want to play Matic and McTominay in the same team. So you're kind of limiting yourself within that anyway. Against Istanbul, you're probably seeing Van de Beek will start, I'm sure. And I probably think you might see Fred as well. So I'm not sure who. Yeah, maybe McTominay. I don't know who starts alongside him. It could be anyone.
Really What I think is really interesting is if you have a look at that team that started against Leipzig, it was actually 3 or 4 players in there you could have said were rotated for the start of that game. So, Joe, do you think it's actually easier to rotate in the Champions League because you get the 5 substitutions? So if you need to make a change at half time or you need to make a change on the 50th minute, you can deploy the big gun, so to speak, for a half of football and expect... Because the game against Leipzig changed when we made our substitutes, right?
Yeah, I actually completely forgot about the 5 subs are only allowed in the Champions League. Yeah, so I suppose that garners a bit more risk. Again, look, Istanbul, we made them look a lot better than they were last time we played them, so we shouldn't have to start anyone. I was only saying, Kartik, while you were in wherever you were in Netherlands, that Martial is the only one I could see was guaranteed that needs to start because he needs to get a goal or two. He needs to have a great game against Istanbul and really kick on. So outside of that, I suppose you can really mix and match if you're really preparing for the Southampton game, which for me is more important.
Joe, you want Martial to start, but you hate him so much because you pulled him out because you expect more from him. Oh, this is a crazy world we live in.
Well, what a world! What a world
we live in. No, I love that. No, that's a really good point, and I think you're right. I think for players like Martial, who really needs to get a goal, needs to hit some form, needs to hit some consistent form as well. I think it's actually important that you're right. He does start, and maybe the same could be said for Rashford as well. And I think Bruno is such an incredible footballer. It doesn't matter what he does, 80 minutes of a game, he can turn it on for 10 minutes of a 90 and win you football matches, which I just think is just a bonkers player. We're so lucky to have him in the side. He's phenomenal, he's world class, and I think like with players like Bruno Fernandes, I think it's great that we've got someone now like Van der Beek to come in, and Carl, I think maybe even a chance for Jesse Lingard to get in the squad right for this week.
Oh dear, no! Imagine if we watched Jesse Lingard in the Champions League. Oh dear.
Maybe for the next Carabao Cup game. Let's move on to the second point. Win against performance. We're going to do a big bit on this on Wall of Reds. So when you're watching this, we might have already done it. However, if you're watching it as soon as it's coming out, then Wall of Reds is at 10 o'clock on a Sunday night. So check it out. But win versus performance. I mean, there's such a big schedule coming up, and the fan base is really split. Like, I love football because I love winning. I love watching my team win. I don't care. We joke about it often. I'll take a 90th minute winner off the back of a defender's arse if it means we get 3 points at the end of the day. Yet so many people up in arms after the West Brom game.
He's gone.
Oh, no, he's back. After the West Brom game. Because we didn't put in a decent enough performance to everyone's individual liking, which absolutely baffles me. But without hitting on the West Brom game and going into that side of things like I just have done, with such a hectic schedule coming up, Joe, do you really care that much about the performances? Because the guys aren't getting much time on the training ground now to really improve much, to come up with patterns. They're just not getting a lot of time. Yeah. So do you think now that we just need to see a consistent run of results more than a consistent run of form?
Well, look, it's a results-based game, so like we need to win. That's the end of it. So ideally, you'd want a beautiful, 3-0 where it's just beautiful part like we were talking about. But always there's going to be a win over anything else. I just want there to be more than that. I want to really enjoy watching United play, and I don't like watching them against West Brom and the last few times against Arsenal and stuff like that. It just wasn't good enough, and it was frustrating. I know we lost against Arsenal. Obviously, we won against West Brom, but we really need to start playing football. But at the end of the day, a win's a win. We'll take it, no matter what way it is. I just would be a lot happier if it was a nice win, a win I could sit down and go, that's put me in a good mood for the week.
Yeah, I mean, Carl, you don't tell many people this, but you do some coaching.
Never says that. Never brings it up.
So where do you sit on this side of the fence? When you've got such a big run of games coming up, can you do much on the training ground? Because surely you got a rest day, then you get on the training ground, do some fitness stuff, and you play a little bit of football maybe, and then you've got to calm it down again. Then you're playing the next day. How much can you actually do in between games?
Yeah, with a fixture list like this, you're looking at maybe 1 day or a day and a half of training maximum, because you're going to have, like you said, a rest day for the players, and then most of your work's going to be tactical. It's not really going to be anything in terms of, when I say the word tactical, I mean with regards to opposition. or maybe with regards to something
like they sit down and watch people on YouTube talking about tactics and reading through Twitter threads.
that.
I mean, like that. Okay.
Yeah. Ollie's just sat there with his Twitter, putting it up on a presentation, just scrolling. No, so it'll be mostly opposition analysis or things that they want to improve on from the weekend. You won't see a lot of what people like to say patterns of play. It'll mostly be little details that'll get you a win on the next day. A couple of days later. So no, you can't do a lot of work on the training ground, which might be to do with why some players aren't gelling as quickly as possible. People like Van der Beek, people like Telles, obviously, who's only played 2 games for us now.
Screenshot. That's a brilliant screenshot. Get a caption to that at All for United and at Mr. Cart. Tell us, please screenshot that and get a decent caption for that. That's a really good one. That
is there's a lot of potential there. Like there's a lot of potential.
Do you want to come up with one, Joe? We have to think of one for that one. I do agree with what Carfit was saying though, in terms of the game's coming up and the players not getting enough time and patterns of play. Because call me stupid here, Joe, but when I think about it, yeah, thank you. But when I think about it, and the more I think about it, our best run under Ollie has come after we had 3 weeks in training before we started up after lockdown, and we had all of our players in training for that 3 weeks, fit as well and combining. And then when we came out after lockdown, we hit the ground running. We played some fantastic football for a prolonged period. Obviously we started this season. I think from what I heard and what I was told, 4 United players on that Monday before the Palace game, 4 first team players were in training. That's it, before the Palace game. And then the rest didn't join up until the Thursday after negative COVID results. So the first 3 games of the season were completely just kaput. Yeah. So is it, for what we're seeing now, is that sort of just so to speak, a natural thing that's happening? We haven't got the combinations, we haven't got the style of play because the lads aren't really training to create that at the moment. They're training to try and not concede goals against the opposition and to try and score a few.
Yeah, that actually, I didn't know that. Jeez, only 4 players. But it makes perfect sense if you look across Europe, even look literally down the road in Manchester. City are awful this season, and both City and United came back at the exact same time, had no pre-season. And I think people just presume footballers are superhuman just because they look like superheroes with those abs. But they need time. They need to get used to playing with each other. They need to have a break as well. So the fact that that's all gone, it's going to be a natural thing where it takes a couple of weeks or even a couple of months to get up to the standard of everyone else in the league. And the whole league is showing Spurs are top of the league with Jose Mourinho as manager. That is madness. That across the league, and then if you look across Europe as well, like I was saying, Bayern Munich are winning 1 week 8-0, the following week they're losing 3-0. So I don't know when we're going to be up to type. Hopefully it'll be now. Hopefully, from right now, we're going to kick on. But who knows? The COVID has kind of messed us all up, both physically and football wise. So,
well, how many times you watched City in that first half against Tottenham the other day? And City were brilliant in that first half. They went in 1-0 down, came out the second half, and they didn't have a great second half, so to speak. But if you're asking me, do I want to play well and draw and lose a big number of games just so I can sit here and tactically talk about how brilliant our team is? Then I don't care. I just want to win games. Obviously, I want to win games in better fashion than we did against West Brom. Of course I do. But, it's like the game against Brighton, where we won it 3-2 after all the drama at the end of the match. Oh, well, we can't celebrate a win because of all the drama that went on.
Oh, no,
yes, I can.
That's so stupid.
Brilliant win. It's mental. As a fan, I watch my team to win. Was that the most exhilarating game? No. But I'll tell you something else that we did, right? On my, it must have been 3 years ago, we played against Brighton, right? And I went up on my as a birthday treat, I went up and watched them play. It was a 0-0 draw, and it was shite. It was it was awful, right? And it was just so drab. It was such an awful game, such an awful performance. But did that dampen the mood that I was at Old Trafford? No, it didn't. I freaking loved every moment of it because it was a birthday treat, and I enjoyed being up there. It's it's just crazy that we now cannot celebrate a win without talking about a performance.
Yeah,
it just really, really. Anyway, let's move on from that. That's point number 2. Win versus performance. Get in the comments, otherwise we'll rant for days. And we've done more on this on Wall of Red, so go check it out. Finally, I just want to talk about a little bit about Istanbul, not Besiktas, not Galatasaray, not Fenerbahce, but Beşiktaş. What have we learned about them, Joe, playing them the first time round?
They're well coached. They're compact and they can defend. And if you allow them to have an entire pitch to go 1-on-1 with Dean Henderson, they'll score. I think we're going to be a different side than the one that played them, because at the end of the day, they're not good enough to come to Old Trafford and win. Unless we allow them to win. We allowed them to win. They didn't beat us. We allowed them to win.
I'd go as far as to say, Joe, would you agree that even with rotation, we should be good enough to beat them,
absolutely,
to win?
But I think the problem is the fact that we lost them last time. We can't rotate as much as we wanted to. I think if we had beaten them or at least drawn with them last time, we would have been that bit more secure. I feel we have to put out a strong team, and maybe because we have the 5 subs, everything going well, and we're pleased to anyone that we're 1 or 2-0 up at half time, we can take off the heavy hitters and give Dan James and all like that run. Do you know? But we need to put them. Look, whatever about the result, we just need to beat them. We need to, and it needs to be comfortable. That's all I want. Like, I don't ask for much. You know, this will be my Christmas present if I want from Man United. Just a win, just a solid win where no one gets injured, and then because the big game is Southampton game. No matter what, the Southampton game is probably going to be the toughest game of the season, I think, so far for us, outside of losing 6-1 to Spurs. And, you know, like, Southampton, I think, are the best team in the Premier, the best run team right now, maybe outside the top 6. Sorry, I'm going on a mad tangent here. I've been at work all day. But, yeah, Istanbul, we just need to do them. They're not good enough to come to Old Trafford and boss us around. But if we allow them to, they will, again. Like, they have Demba Ba starting up front. Demba Ba. Like, no one's heard about him since 2014. So he has no right to be scoring again against us. So we can't let them. We can't let them.
Yeah, I do agree. I feel like we need to go out there and we need to put some doubters to bed, so to speak.
Yeah.
No, I'm not asking for a performance. I just feel like we've got certain players who need to bag some goals, and I think there's no better chance to do it than in a game against a team who aren't Premier League quality. They're not.
They're not.
They're the easiest, and they are factually. It's going to be the easiest game we play in the Champions League this season at home to Istanbul Basaksehiir. So we need to get the 3 points from it. And the fact we didn't away from home because of sloppiness, I think, says it all. We were all over them in the second half, and the anger as fans at the end of that game was because we had so many creative players on that they didn't gel. Just nothing happened. So that we need to make sure we're on the front foot from the first minute, I think. And again, like you say, it's not making silly mistakes, because you know, when you make silly mistakes like we did leaving Matic back and no one else being around to deal with Demba Ba, then, you know, you're just asking to concede goals. Well, if we stay solid, all we need to do, all anyone wants our defence to do. I don't want Harry Maguire to every game prove that he's a world-class centre-back. I don't want Wan-Bissaka every game to prove as well. You know where I'm going with this. All I want them to do is give the rest of the team the opportunity to do their job, our defence. So as long as they stay strong, they stay stable, then it gives our attackers the chance to go and attack. It gives our attackers a chance to go and get goals and seek and go for the kill in some aspects as well, because let's face it, you know, we can be ruthless at times. So, you know, I think we showed we can play around them. We showed we can put them on the back foot. We've showed that they clearly have a weakness, by the way, putting balls in the box. So having Tellez, maybe putting the ball into Cavani, could be a great option for us to have here. Because Luke Shaw onto Martial's head. I tell you what, if Luke Shaw can assist Martial with a cross and a header, just pop the ball in the box. Let's go back to that game with David Moyes where we put about 50 crosses in the box against Fulham. Let's just do that and we'll score goals against Istanbul Basaksehiir, trust me. So I think, you know, all that and a 2-footed tackle on Martin Skirtle and I'll be quite happy. But I think that's one of those. I think it's going to be an interesting game. And again, I'm not looking for us to go out there and do a Leipzig on them. I don't want to smash them 5-0. I don't care. I just want a confident performance from first to last minute. And I think that would be enough to see the 3 points on the board. And again, I think 3 points on the board on Tuesday is what's most important right now, because as I say, that would mean that we only need to maybe draw our last 2 games or get one win out the 2. And I think we're more than capable to do that.
Yeah. I want to also point out, this has been played on my head since I said it. I don't think Southampton are the best team in the Premier League. I don't want that clipped. I think
it's already been clipped. You're too late now.
They're the most impressive. That's what I meant. After losing 9-0 to Leicester and now being as well drilled there, I meant most impressive. That's what I meant. Please don't attack me.
You've gone more red than the red stripe on their jersey, mate.
Oh, I know. As soon as I said that, I was like, I've been up since 6:30 in the morning, right? I'm just back from work. Okay, give me a little bit of leeway into that. I didn't mean Southampton are the best team in the league.
every Monday and Friday now, me and Joe are doing the late night lock-in here live on All for United. I think we should do a segment where it's things Joe has said this week, and we just get some clips of the most outrageous things that you said on the channel each week for you to try and get yourself out of the hole you put yourself in. I think that would be really entertaining.
I just
catch
wish,
up, by the way, Monday night.
Yeah, make sure to catch that Monday night and Friday nights. I just wish someone controlled my brain outside of myself for like 5 minutes at a time, because I say something and then I'm like, I didn't really say that. Then I'd watch back and go, oh, for the love of God.
That's what you need a missus for. That's literally. Which, by the way, can I just say, shout out to Temi, by the way, who couldn't be here. Instead, his lovely lady apparently has treated him to brunch. But sooner or later, he is going to have to learn and have that conversation that football comes first. And when he does, we're going to be there to pick up the pieces for him, because clearly he's not had that conversation yet, which is why he's missed his show. Hilarious.
I haven't dirty joked, Temi. Ben set me up perfectly, but I respect you and I respect your missus who I haven't met yet, so I will not say it, but I have it and it's gold. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you've got a joke on it?
No, I just you set me up perfectly to say a really filthy joke, but I'm not going to say it. But
let's not do it, because we also don't want to get banned. So let's
exactly.
Down the straight and narrow. Guys, get in the comments. We're going to put our starting 11s in there. Although Karthik hasn't been about because the internet's been playing up and it's just been me and Joe being loudmouths for the last 25 minutes. Get in the comments with your thoughts on every topic that we've spoken about so far. Get your likes on mine, Joe's, and Karthik's lineups. Which one do you like the most? Who wins this week? I actually think, Joe, you won for the lineup that you put in against West Bromwich Albion, actually. So it'd be interesting to see where people go this time. I'm going to rotate a lot in mine. So there you go. There's a little sneak peek for you guys. But finally, to sign this off, Joe, first goal scorer and score prediction.
I'm going to say 3-0. And even though I apparently despise him, it's going to be Anthony Martial.
Oh, look at that. Supporting our players, mate. It's a breath of fresh air from you, this. It really is. I'm going to go with... I am actually going to go with a... I wanted to say 3-0, but now I'm confident that we can win 3-0. So I don't know whether to say 2-0 and play it down or 4-0 and play it up, which is the opposite to what I've been saying the whole preview. So I'm going to say 3-1. And I'm going to go first goal scorer, Mason Greenwood.
Yes, I like that.
And I don't know if you've noticed this. I say Mason Greenwood in every preview because at least once he is going to come in handy and he's going to do it. So at one point I can brag about it. So it's like doing a lottery when we always put in the same numbers.
Eventually
he'll come up trucks. Guys, subscribe to the channel, hit a like on this video, get in the comments with your thoughts. Hope you've enjoyed it. Istanbul Basakshehir. Come on, lads, let's get the 3 points. And come on, United.
Come on, United.
Win the Champions League, or as Karthik would say, we're going to win the Champions League. But we're probably not, just the lower expectations.
Yeah, but there's always a chance. There's always
a chance. We might do. Anyway, roll the title.